What's good, fam? What's good, everybody? How are y'all doing? Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. So we have a good topic for you guys today. We have two words you'll never hear from Black leaders, and those two words are research and development. So first, we're gonna outline and define what is research and development. And then once we go into what research and development is, we're going to break it down. We're going to apply it in the business sense, but we're going to expand it into the macro. So we're going to start with the small, the micro, the business aspect of it. And then we're going to go from there and we're going to apply it into the macro level. So is that good for everybody?
I'm good with it. Can you hear me?
Yes. And
Cool,
so I
cool.
have a lot of PowerPoints and presentations about this. So I'm going to be going through those. I have about 8 or 9 of them because I've done all aspects of this before. So we're really gonna go into this. So we're gonna first define what it means. So research and development is defined as the process and activities related to extending the products and services that a firm offers. There are two components to research and development: research, which is primarily focused on extending the knowledge of the firm, and development, which is focused on turning that new knowledge into usable products and services. Research and development is an important driver of economic growth as it spurs innovation, invention, and progress. Research and development spending can be capital intensive, but can also lead to breakthroughs that can drive both profits and the well being of consumers. Today, research and development dominates industry sectors such as biotech and pharmaceuticals and information and computer technology. So, that is the basic tenets of research and development. So, when we are talking about research and development, one of the key things about research and development is that is meant to help increase productivity. That is the main purpose of research and development. You want to give a innovative product that can increase productivity and of course increase your profits. So we have to first define what is productivity. So productivity is considered a key source of economic growth and competitiveness, and is as such is basic statistical information for many international comparisons and country performance assessments. And these performance of production measures production's ability to generate income. So you have labor productivity, which is an indicator for several economic growth factors. There's including economic growth, competitiveness, and living standards. So similar to research and development, factors driving productivity growth, well, they're technically intertwined. They're connected: investment, innovation, skills, enterprise, and competition. And productivity growth means more value is added in production. That's why you do research and development. You want to have higher productivity. You want to have more resources to sell. You want more value into your product. And that's what companies usually do. They have a research team that go through what are called prototypes, and engineering is prototypes. So whenever you do engineering, you have a 10 phase that we learned. I learned it in it was my general engineering course, and one of the things we had to do was research. You had to ask a question first, you had to research it, then you have to come up with the constraints and criteria, then you would have to come up with the prototype, and you would have to go through the specifications. And once you go through all of that, then it's good to go. So we need to differentiate two things: productivity and efficiency. So, productivity is the measure of efficiency of production and is defined as total output per one unit of total input. Efficiency is the extent to which time is well used for the intended product, intended task. And so, in today's economy, we have an economy that is productive, but its main thing is efficiency. Because a lot of things in this world are unproductive, but it's efficient. So you need to know the distinctions between efficiency and productivity. And we see that today. Workers are more productive and there's a lot of productivity going on, But it's more efficient if I pay less money for cheap labor, and it's also less efficient. It's also more efficient if I use machines. Now they can be correlated, but they're not a causation. Just so you know the difference between efficiency and productivity. You can be extremely productive and be inefficient. You can be efficient and extremely unproductive. There's a correlation between the two, but there's not a causation. Okay. So after with this main goal of productivity, similar to and technically in relation to research and development, you have models. You have productivity models. And, and so these productivity models, you have the national productivity, you have labor productivity, you have all these different productivity models that are used to measure. And that's one of the things with research and development. And one of the things that we emphasize. You got to give us a model. You keep telling us what we need to do, what we can't do, and what we should be doing. We know all this information, but you're not giving us a model. We've done the research. Not great. Now, where's the model? Where's the prototype? That's the next step. I need a productivity model to see how I can measure this. So people know whether or not they're economically growing or they're economically retracting. And like I said, the main drivers of productivity similar to the main drivers in research and development: investment, innovation, skills, enterprise, and competition. Like I said, I'm constantly intertwining research and development into productivity because they are the same. They are mutually, that's the goal of research and development. You want more products, but you want better products. You want more productivity. You want more of it. That's how you're able to compete. You're extremely productive, also want to be efficient. The two are intertwined. So, investment: the more capital workers have at their disposal, the better they are able to do their jobs. Innovation: better equipment works faster, like I said before, and more efficiently. Another aspect of research and development. Or better organization and creates motivation at work. Skills: these are needed to take advantage of investment in new technologies and organizational structures. Enterprise: this is the seizing of new business opportunities by both startup and existing firms. Competition: improves productivity by creating incentives to innovate and ensure though that resources are allocated to the most efficient firms. Now, do y'all want me to show my screen, or do you just want me to think? Because I can show my screen if necessary. So if y'all want me to show my screen, let me know.
Yeah,
So
go for it, man. Go
okay.
for it.
So I'm gonna be going through a lot of presentations, so bear with me. So this is what I'm talking about. So right here, you have it: investment, innovation, skills, enterprise. So you can go down, you can write this stuff down. Like I said, I've thoroughly researched all this stuff. So we're on, we're past the national productivity models. So we're on this part of the thing. We're on the examples of production model, and these are the drivers of productivity growth. Then you have the importance of productivity growth. Productivity growth is a crucial source of growth in living standards. Productivity growth means more value is added in production, and this means more income is available to be distributed. Again, at a firm or industry level, the benefits of productivity growth can be distributed in a number of different ways. Again, that's why you do research and development. You want to add value and you want to be able to bring more income. Some of these benefits include to the workforce through better wages and conditions, to shareholders through increased profits and dividends and distributions, to customers through lower prices, to the environment through more stringent environmental protections, and to government through increase in tax payments. Okay. And then we say, now we're going on the macro level. At a national level, productivity growth raises living standards because more real income improves people's ability to purchase goods and services, enjoy leisure, improve housing and education, and contribute to social and environmental programs. Over long periods of time, small differences in rates of productivity growth can compound like interest in a bank's account and can make an enormous difference to a society's prosperity. Nothing contributes more to reduction of poverty, to increase in leisure into the country's ability to finance public education, public health, environment, and the arts. That is a major thing of income, is productivity. Let's apply this to African economies. African countries have a lot of resources. We know Africa is rich in natural resources, but Africans are, the way that we do things is extremely unproductive. It's extremely inefficient. Subsistence farming is not good enough in today's world. Raw material extraction with no value added to it is not good enough in today's world. Commodities is not good enough. It's not going to get you over the hump. You need to add value. You need to have productivity. Okay. So that is referring to the productivity model. Now, are there any things that y'all would like to add, give your takes and opinions on before I go to the next things that contribute to it?
Nah, I'm good. Keep rocking.
Okay. So, with that, it's important that we start understanding what we are headed into. So we're going into what is called the knowledge economy. Now, this should be a PowerPoint presentation, but I have it in a Word document, so bear with me. Um, this was like a long time ago, so bear with me. So this is what we have. We're heading to what is known as a knowledge economy. That's what we're heading ourselves into. So, what is the knowledge economy? So, the knowledge economy, by its definition, is the sector of the economy which increasingly is based on knowledge-intensive activities, creating a greater reliance on intellectual capital rather than physical inputs. That is what today's economy is driven, and everybody on this panel can attest to this. A lot of the stuff right now is driven through STEM. It's driven through the knowledge economy. We're running less on labor, and our economy is being geared towards more knowledge based intangible assets. And I'll get to intangible assets later. As a matter of fact, I'll get to that before I get to the rest of it. So, an intangible asset. What is an intangible asset? Okay. So, by the very definition, an intangible asset is an asset that, of course, it's intangible. You can't touch it. Okay. That's what it is. It's an intangible asset. Okay. That is what it is. Okay. I'm trying to, okay. That is what an intangible asset is. Okay. That is what it is. That's an intangible asset. Okay. An intangible asset is a non physical asset having useful life greater than 1 year. Of course, they cannot be touched and they're long term assets. Examples of intangible assets: trademarks, newspaper mastheads, internet domain names, non competitive agreements. Then we have customer related intangible assets: customer lists, order backlogs, customer relations, artistic, performance events, literary works, musical work, picture works, motion pictures. Okay. Contractual based intangible assets: licensing agreements, service contracts, lease agreements, franchise agreements, broadcasting rights, employment contracts, use rights. Technology-based intangible assets: patented technology, computer software, trade secrets such as secret formulas and recipes. Business intangible assets: a strong, recognizable brand identity, trained employees, loyal clientele, a reliable vendor and distribution network, a functional website, your in-house technology systems and processes. That is an intangible asset. And that is what drives the majority of today's world, majority of today's economy. It's the intangible aspects of it. It's not your physical assets. It's the intangible. That's what adds value to it. So anybody want to give their thoughts on intangible assets before we dive into knowledge economy? Because that's going to be we really got to hone in on that. I like to give everybody their chance to speak before I continue, because this is
Well, actually, I would prefer you to just keep rocking because I want to touch on something that you haven't touched on yet. So I'm good if you keep on rocking. I don't know about anybody else.
a theory.
Yeah, keep going.
All right.
Go away.
So now we're heading to the knowledge economy. So that's all geared towards the knowledge economy. So what is the knowledge economy? Of course, like I said earlier, it's based on intangible assets, right? But if we look at it, okay, what is the knowledge economy associated with? High-tech manufacturing and service sectors and business services. So what are they? High-tech manufacturing, computers, electronics, aerospace. Service sector for industries such as education, healthcare, software design, business services, insurance, information and communication. Traditional models of economics activity, the main factors of production are land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. But we need to know the type of knowledge. So what are some of the type of knowledge? You have explicit knowledge, you have tacit knowledge. Okay, explicit knowledge is facts, figures, data. Tacit knowledge is how things work, experience, judgment, intuition, way of dealing with people. In essence, human capital. That's what we would call human capital. The know abouts, the knowledge, the ability to learn, the ability to understand, knowing facts and figures. That's in essence human capital, but those are the two types of knowledge, explicit and tacit knowledge. You have educational qualifications are indications of a person's knowledge. Okay. But a large part of the knowledge economy comes from learning by doing and falls outside of the scope of traditional education. That's why people will say a degree is important, but the biggest thing is experience. What body of work have you done? And that goes into research and development. People who do research and development have a lot of experience. Most of the time when you're doing research and development, you've been on the company for multiple years, or you have a master's or a PhD. You have a lot of experience and you have a lot of knowledge. Okay. And economists have argued that in the past few decades, the modern economy is becoming more knowledge-based. Okay. And we see this, the rise in the high-tech industries, the growth of the service sector, the rise in self-employment, increase in the number of patents. Let's look at it again. The rise of work from home. That's a knowledge-based economy. I don't need to physically be there. This is an example of the knowledge economy. So what are characteristics of the knowledge economy? Knowledge and information are key drivers in productivity. What did I say? Research and development. Keep that in your brain. Research and development, productivity, knowledge economy. Growth in high technology investment in industries. Growth in knowledge intensive services sectors such as education, communication, and information. Knowledge is a non-finite resource. It's infinite. Okay? There's no such thing as a cap on knowledge. You learn something every day. Okay? And matter of fact, sharing the knowledge can actually boost overall knowledge by you sharing this information. You have growth and demand for high-skilled labor university degrees. Look at today's world. It's practically impossible to get a high-paying job without a college degree. You need a college degree, especially what we're doing in nation building. You need a college degree. You need a college degree, at least a bachelor's degree, preferably in some cases even a master's degree.
Thanks a lot, Jabari.
I'm not trying to think. I'm not, but it's the truth. It's what we're dealing. It's the world that we live in. If you are somebody who's building a bridge, or you're designing software, or we're doing a mission to Mars, we're trying to research it because space exploration is coming and the manned mission to Mars is coming, and we need to get on that now because Black folks will be the pioneers of Mars because we're more suited. As a matter of fact, there was a scientist by the name of Solomon in an inverse article that I was reading on the website said that most of the colonists that need to go there need to come from Africa, since Africa is genetically diverse. Also, the fact that there's going to be a lot of exposure to radiation, but this comes in the research and development phase. With that, you need people with degrees. You need people who have the knowledge and can prove that they know what they're doing. You need to know the concepts. I need to know that. I need to be able to see it. I need to be able to test it. I need you to know it. Okay? Increase in importance of tacit knowledge, the skills and ability to identify codified knowledge. Application. It's great that you have the theory, but now you need to apply it. Now we need to see reality. Innovation is driven by both producers and users rather than top-down linear systems. That's supposed to be both producers and users. I don't know if I put bother, but both producers and users rather than top-down linear structures. And we see that. A lot of things are becoming decentralized. It's not not everything is centralized as they used to be. Knowledge spills over from one industry to another. A lot of industries are interconnected. STEM can be interconnected with business. STEM is interconnected with agriculture. Some people call it STEAM. STEM is interconnected with food, of course, or communications. Okay.
Healthcare industry too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the healthcare industry. You're right. Cosmetics. Knowledge from one industry spills over to the next. Okay. So, what is the importance of the knowledge economy? It enables production, innovation, and customization, greater role for human capital. And that's the thing. Firms need to attract and retain workers adapted to the new mode of the economy. What do we say? We want skilled individuals. Why? Because it requires human capital. This is a capital intensive project. Everybody can be involved, but we need doctors, lawyers, engineers, electricians. We need material scientists. We need geologists. We need administrators. We need high human capital individuals. Machinist. Okay, physicist, agriculturalist, industrialist. And to enhance knowledge distribution and benefit from new working practices, collaborative efforts can help. New growth theories emphasize the potential for human capital and increasing knowledge to provide new sources of economic growth and high levels of productivity, potentially greater demand for skilled labor. Now, here's some of the problems of the knowledge economy. They may have increased the gap between high-skilled and low-skilled workers due to decline in well-paying manual labor. The knowledge economy may also be a factor behind the rise in the gig economy, obviously, definitely. But this is what research and development is for. You need to do this so we know these are the pros, these are the cons. How do we address this? All of this is connected. That's why I keep reiterating it. Research and development on the micro level deals with firm. You need to be able to attract talent. You got to be able to do research so that you're able to increase the profits, add more value. Because if I'm a company, I want the best and the brightest. I want the resources. I want more productivity. I want efficiency. I want it. But on the macro level, that's also what I want. But what are some of the costs of it? That means less well-paid manual labor jobs. So you have a huge gap in income. That's what we call what? We call it white-collar jobs. That differentiates from blue-collar. Blue-collar is more manual. White-collar is your engineers, your designers, the administrators, the managers. Now, there are different color jobs and all that, but those are the two primary. I mean, there's plenty more. The knowledge economy, of course, of that, and the limitations of the knowledge economy. A limited number of high-skilled jobs. Many jobs don't require the highest level qualifications. Low productivity growth in the past decade, that's recently. So that is the knowledge economy, the crux of the knowledge economy. And The last thing, which I'm probably just going to just not do because it's really a lot of going into the details of it. But y'all get the gist of it. So what I'm gonna do is um go over some brief indicators and yeah, it's really in depth. So and I'm approaching 25 minutes. So anybody would like to say something?
Um, I guess I'll just add in the importance of research development from what you um, pretty much stated. It's it's two sides of a coin when it comes to innovation. R&D is very important because not only just as a business but as a nationhood, you want to improve and you want to stay ahead, with the trends and also just, the latest technologies because that's how we can, make the best of it and maximize it. And it also gives us a better chance of long-term success, where you talked about the different types of research with R&D. I don't know if you tackled this because I was on mute and I had other things to do, but there's basic research and applied research where you basically, on the basic side of things, you get the knowledge of what product or what it is that you're trying to do and how it'll be applied. And then obviously the applied part, what are we going to do with this and what's the plan? But R&D, it's very important. I mean, it's what every other company and industry is doing, especially, countries themselves. And that's definitely why I believe we have to get on board with it because the sooner, the better we're able to, take what is useful and actually and make good use of it. Dang, everybody like who? I don't know what he talking about.
Oh no, you're good. You're gonna narrate it. You're gonna narrate it. I'm just gonna say this last thing because I think after the knowledge economy, I mean, you'll pretty much get the point. Other than that, it would be capital and all that stuff. But y'all get the crux, the gist of it. The last thing I will say is with the knowledge economy is I have another. It's titled Towards the Knowledge Economy. Um, I base you what the knowledge economy is, but this is gonna have how it's headed towards. And then after this it's free for all from everybody because I done made my point. So here it is towards the knowledge economy. So let's focus on it. So this is of course known as it's also known as the information, the internet, and digital economy. Okay, that is what it is, and it's an essential part of wealth and developing society as welfare is the knowledge economy. Okay, considered a branch of the basic sciences that aim to improve the well-being of individual organization and society by studying production system and design, new knowledge, and then carrying out implementations of intervention necessary to develop these systems. As modern economy means imposing a new spectrum of activities related to knowledge, technology, and information, the most important features of internet transactions. So it is indeed a science. Um, so the knowledge is an economy that revolves around acquiring, participating in, using, employing, and innovating knowledge in order to improve the quality of life in all of its fields through the use of rich information service and advanced technological applications. Okay. Now you can go search. It's like I was going deep in the web on this. Like when I tell you, I would take time. I would be going through so many different websites and just be writing all this stuff down because everything needs to be known. Now I don't need a bit. I need everything. So just that's what I do. Um, Characteristics and knowledge is the main factor of production, focusing on intangible assets as ideas and trademarks rather than machinery and financial asset. It is networked through the evolution of new communication methods. It is digital, and this has a huge impact on volume, storage, and processing information. We see that right now. We have supercomputers, quantum computers, we have cloud computing, we have all of that. We are now approaching the Internet of Things, where everything's gonna be on the internet. You have also something called the brain net, where your brain will be basically the internet, and you do all that stuff. Ways to sort of process and storage and information. That's a key thing, because one of the things of artificial intelligence is to replicate itself, and to replicate itself, you need to have access to a lot of volume storage and processing power. And it case the point, what a quantum computer can solve in a matter of minutes would take a supercomputer thousands of years. That's an example of processing information and volume and storage of information. It's virtual reality, where virtualization becomes reality with a digitization in networks. We see that right now. We have virtual reality, we have augmented reality, we have all of this, and that's part of the knowledge economy. Diminishing time constraints and low cost with development of new technologies. We see that as economies of scale. We have new electronic markets. Okay, now the importance is grown. It's going to continue to grow as we're part of the fourth industrial revolution. And as we're part of the fourth industrial revolution, everything we're talking about robotics, artificial intelligence, human enhancement. We're approaching what's called the post-human era, which is known as transhumanism. Transhumanism is when we upgrade our bodies, the technological singularity, the emergence of man and machine. That's all coming into research and development. As we're doing more of this research and development, we're developing, things that can eliminate cancer, things that can download your consciousness. We're trying to solve things. Okay. And that is what the primarily the knowledge economy, the fourth industrial revolution, that's intimately tied with it. Scientific knowledge is contained in the economy on the basis of wealth generation and accumulation. It contributes to improving performances, raising productivity, and reducing cost of production, and improving its quality through the use of advanced means and methods. Contributes to the new generation of jobs in the areas that are using advanced technologies, including in the knowledge economy, and generative opportunity. And then, of course, you have, some other aspects. So factors contributing to it, of course, is the development of the third sector, of intangible activities, technological development, the evolution of concepts and applications. So how do you measure the knowledge economy? Organization and performance, innovation, the human resource management, information technology, and some other performance. I have to try to figure that out. Hold on for a second. You have societal performance. That's what it is. Societal performance. I think that's what it is. Then you have some other additional factors. You have there's a lot to it. So then you have and it breaks down each thing. So you have, in the case of innovation, is hope, previous experience, aspirations. Some of the common metrics for it includes market share, cost of delivery, profitability, and satisfaction. So that's there to it. And then you have human resource management. But that's really the crux of the knowledge economy. And there's a difference between the knowledge-based economy and a knowledge economy. So the difference is a knowledge economy is about the economics of knowledge processes themselves, both in terms of the cost of the knowledge processes, such as research and development costs. What this topic is about, that's a knowledge economy. So we're heading in the right direction of a knowledge economy, or business management costs, consulting on the preparation and training of experts. A knowledge-based economy is an advanced stage of the knowledge economy. So we're at the upper echelons of, that's what it is. That is to say that it depends on the clues of the knowledge economy and various economic and social activities, such as association of information technology with multiple sectors, such as communications, that make the economy based knowledge and science. Okay. And oh yeah, don't definitely, dude. I was gonna let you in. I was just gonna finish that. That's what I was gonna try to finish this up, and then I was gonna let everybody, get in. The last thing I want to say is the whole purpose of this, and the whole thing of this is the purpose of research and development is to answer a question, to solve a problem. When you do research, you're looking to answer a question, to solve a question, to solve a problem. And if that's not what you're doing, then you're not doing research and development. That's the whole purpose of research. You're trying to solve a problem. And that, Hollop, I think, is the reason why Black leaders are afraid of that term. because research and development means you're looking to solve a problem. You're looking to solve a question. And if our question is, why are we in the situation we are? Why are we in the position we are? Why are we going through this right now? You're going to look to try to solve the problem. And then you come up with prototypes. That is not what Black leaders want to do. So that is why I think Black leaders don't want or are afraid of those two words. Because research and development means you're answering a question. You're trying to solve a problem. And you're coming up with innovative solutions. Right now, they don't want to do that.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Well
I'm interested to
said.
hear what Dawood has to say.
Peace. Is that me?
That's
Mr.
you.
Woo.
What's up, bro? How y'all doing?
Peace.
He coming off the
We are
bench
doing
like Larry
well.
Bird.
Word. Hopefully I could drop some threes. This is a topic that's near and dear to what I like, and I don't really broadcast publicly because it's not a sexy Black people topic.
There you go.
But I think that it's crazy because I think it's becoming more and more acceptable to be smart as a Black person, but the smarts are being directed towards the lower desires, such as like relationships and how to get the guy, how to get the girl. So I think that there's a lot of us who are pursuing higher knowledge and higher fields because not just because it pays us, because it's a passion. But one thing I did learn in my military studies that I went through for like maybe 10 years is that there are some people who try to conduct the war based on philosophy, and then there's some people that try to conduct the war according to the principles of business. And if we're going to do research and development, and if we're going to make that a focal point of the BAIO, which is what we've always said, and what you gentlemen have, including specifically Jabari, have eloquently stated, I think that we need to look at it that way, which is basically we can't have 1, 2, 3 people doing as a lawyer, as a doctor, whatever. There has to be two things that Black leaders, I think, are afraid of also. And that is meritocracy and hierarchy. Because if you set up a meritocracy where there's a person at the top that is, considered like authority, or people at the top, I would say, not one person, but people at the top. And then you have a slew of men and women who want to learn that particular skill and field. Then you are now scaling that to the point where we can actually build a nation with it. Because 1 or 2 people ain't going to be able to do shit. But 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and I've made this point in the past, that the sheer number of electricians to just do one building is astounding. And a lot of times when we deal with these Black leaders, they're like, this brother here's an electrician. It's like, no, we need like 50 electricians. What are you talking about? So for us, one of the things I think that I would contribute to is that we would take those particular skill centers and scale them by inviting the people who are, quote unquote, blue collar or whatever, to want to gain more knowledge and skills and be recognized for it. Because another thing I think one of the reasons why Black people don't get into the science fields is that we don't get recognized by white people when we're involved in them. They generally take our ideas and steal them. They put somebody with us to learn what we learn, and they see us as a threat, and then they get rid of us. So our mothers and fathers have already instilled fear in us and said, listen, as a Black person, you got to be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times better. And you as a child would say, well, what is the use of me being involved in these fields in the first place if that's what it's going to be? I might as well just do ... And that is how they've kept us out of these fields and kept a large number of us. I know for myself, when I get on a job and I blow, I've learned to stop, but I run my mouth about how many magazines I read, how many organizations I'm a part of in my field, automatically they look at me as a threat. And they're like, oh man, because we don't read no books and we ain't part of this and we ain't part of this. I'm talking about my white competitors. And so therefore, if a Black person is into their field, loves their field, and wants to master their field, we as the BAIO, we can make it sexier for them to be recognized for what they do and recognized for training others, and know that by training others, they're not a threat to you. Because that's another reason I think that we have not wanted to teach others, is because we know teaching another person what we know automatically takes, number one, the prestige we was getting, and number two, might even cut your livelihood. So as a people, I know for a fact, being in the security industry, when I've met black dudes, they always give me this crazy look like, oh, you're going to steal my distinction as the only locksmith, black locksmith in this town, or the only black this or only black that. And I've always been like, what the hell is that all about? But I understand as I got older that this is kind of Negro, I don't know how you want to call it, Holland. Like, I don't want to say it's militant integration, but it's sort of like a holding on of a false sense of pride and distinction in your society. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like, can y'all hear me?
It's called the special Negro.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? You walking around town with these stripes on your chest. I'm the highest paid black accountant. And then you see another accountant, he's your enemy. Not because he's going to steal your livelihood, but because he's going to take your false Negro points that you get with everybody else for being the only black this and that. And it's crazy because instead of us banding together and trying to compete and even dominate an industry, we would rather hold on to a small crumb. But I think that in our nation, that would not exist. Or at least I know all of us on this call, we would do our best to stomp that out. You're not coming here with that. Because this is a meritocracy, but this is also a brotherhood and a sisterhood. I want you to learn. I want you to know there would be healthy competition and righteous competition, but there would not be toxic competition where it's like, I'm competing to be better than you in this field. Or I'm competing to be better than them. And I think that removing those kind of toxic stumbling blocks that we have in America would go a long way to inviting much more people in various different fields, because I mean, this is a fundamental problem that you have. You know what I'm saying? I know I speak for my industry, but the rest of y'all in your industries can bear witness that it is very hard to work with another black person in your industry based on those false Negro points that you're talking about. And so for us to get into research and development, I think is a beautiful thing. And I think that as we move forward, we think as businessmen and women, and not saying like the capitalist way of thinking of it, but just understanding that we're never going to get anywhere until we scale. We set up a system where there's enough people interested in what we're trying to do, and they get promoted. And as they get promoted, you know what I mean? Like they teach others and they teach others. But it's not an American kind of promotion where you get promoted and you get some head nigga in charge shirt. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. But you know that you're doing it for your nation. It's a different feeling than you're just doing it for yourself. So I'm hoping that what I'm saying is germane to the topic, but that's kind of the way I see the research and development thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think that as long as we're thinking scale and we're thinking it, you know, what I mean, like having as many people as we can under those who initially sign up and know, then that makes it possible for us to get a lot of stuff done.
No, your point goes exactly to the point of what I was talking about with research and development. It's about increasing the value. It's about increasing productivity. You can't be productive if you don't have a lot of people.
Right.
If you only have 2 or 3 people, that's inefficient. If I'm producing engineers 10,000, 100,000 a year, I'm going to have more engineers, which means I can be more efficient and more productive. So, indeed, what do? You research and development. And I put in the chat what you're calling is what's called an entrepreneurial ecosystem. You have to give people an ecosystem to which that can happen. You can't put us into, it's like you have black people who want to figure out how they can navigate this system. When I'm saying, listen, you're not in the right ecosystem. You're out of whack and out of place. You're trying to figure out, how do I survive in this hostile environment?
Right.
And I always compare it to, think of a hurricane. What does a hurricane need to strengthen itself? It needs to have warm water, little to no dry air, little to no dry air, little to no wind shear, and it doesn't need to go over land. If you have a hurricane that goes over land, is in the path of strong wind shear, that hurricane is going to get torn apart. Why? It's not in the right ecosystem. You can't develop in a powerhouse in the wrong ecosystem. And that's what we're trying to research and develop. Putting
Right.
ourselves in the right ecosystem so that we can thrive.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree. There's a person in the chat room that asked what I do. I do physical security, whether it's electronic or, and I also do lunch, obviously. I do that too. Whether it's electronic or whether it's locks and exit hardware, that's what I do. And physical security encompasses locks, card access, fire alarms, CCTV, what you call it, and burglar alarms. So basically anything to do with keeping a person from either harming somebody or stealing valuable information and money, you know, what they call business continuity. That's what my life is all about.
Yep. Sound like a 3-pointer to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also,
I
let me
Yes.
get to let
I
me
love
get
these
to
conversations though.
let me get to
Dundada, get on here, man.
uh-huh. Dundada LD, man. We need the whole crew
Yeah,
up
where's
in here.
LD at? Where's
Yeah, I
he at?
just
He's
sent him a
missing in action.
message.
LD's
Smoking a cigarette.
coasting.
And this is why, you
Oh,
know,
we forgot about a Siri too.
Right
word.
here. You want to hear my 2 cents? I
Please.
exactly have lived what Dawood, what you spoke about by both black and white people, and it's something that happens here on this continent. Let's not be shy about it.
Right.
And what I like is we have an opportunity to pivot and define this. I love the term, the entrepreneur ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to work for us, because the whole head Negro in charge bullshit it's a bygone era, and it needs to be, in my opinion, cremated,
Indeed.
and thrown, ashes thrown into the ocean,
Yep.
basically.
I knew you was gonna say. If you didn't say it, I was gonna say it.
Exactly. Yeah, like I'm ready to bury that shit. So it's time for it's time to really capitalize on the God-given talents that our people have, and that's where I'm interested, because human capital is going to waste, and we're
Right.
going to sit here and become obsolete, because whatever happened to the manufacturing industry back in the 70s and 80s is going to happen to the service industries when they come up
Indeed.
with robots,
Indeed.
to replace each and every one of those service jobs. It's already starting. You go to the grocery store and there's already an automated cash out, right?
Right. Self checkout. Yep.
Self checkout.
Yep.
Exactly. It's everywhere. So
Mm-hmm.
we need our people to wake up and start transitioning, because nobody's going to want to give you free money for not being productive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't be productive, there's only so much resources that'll go around to feed you.
Right. Right.
So that's the new
And also,
reality.
let me add the problem with in today's America's economy, and y'all all have heard this term, it's called a zero sum game. Everybody believes it is a zero sum game.
Yes.
It means if Dawood is winning, that means I must be losing. So therefore, I can't let Dawood get up, because in the zero sum game that we have in America, the dog eat dog world, Dawood rising means that I ain't winning. So I have to do whatever I can to shut them down. Look at the case with the unions in Starbucks, right? So you have the case where the Starbucks employees like, we just want the unions because we want to be more productive for the company. We want to make Starbucks better. But what does that mean? More money for the unions means less money for the pockets of the corporate CEOs. So they see it as a zero sum game. You getting better wages means that I lose my billions of dollars in my net worth. Instead of seeing it as, okay, I may lose a few $1 billion, but my company's rising, my people are rising. Which one gives a greater benefit? But we don't look at things that way. We look at things that if somebody else wins or somebody else gets a benefit, that means that I'm losing. And that means I'm going to be at the bottom.
You know what I want to tie this into? Well, I want to ask a question. This is for Asiri and Underrated and Minister. How does this apply within the context of nationhood? Like, let's say we take nationhood out of the equation. How do you apply this research and development, this R&D, to a bunch of scattered individuals in America? I'm just interested on on your answer to that.
Well, the first thing is, I think we started down that path already where we're doing a lot of research in defining what land infrastructure and nationhood mean, because that's a very lofty goal. And we have to break it down so that people can resonate with it. You're going to have to do a lot of research to do that. And we've put all of our minds together and built some momentum in the last few months around that. So it's practicing what we preach, basically. A lot of other organizations are not doing research and development. They're going on their own tangent and just demanding and walking out there and saying, we need this, we want this, we demand this. Well, nobody's going to give you shit until you prove some credibility.
Misery merchants.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's what that's the product that they have. Misery.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, applying it to nationhood. I mean, I think that's what we're doing right now with the researching aspect of, outreaching to people and providing this platform for those that believe in nationhood, but also where we initially thought having a nation, where we should have a nation state. We probably didn't have a country in mind until Jabari had brought up Liberia, and with his knowledge of Liberia and why it's a great start for the African diaspora. To me, that's an example of R&D, because you definitely can see how that country itself, once we have everything established, how we could thrive a lot easier due to it being, more suitable for African Americans, where they don't have to learn a new language. The infrastructure is a bit similar and it can be improved and updated over time. So I think we're doing it now, honestly, and it's just getting more people that are skilled in different areas to, chime in so that we could get the ball rolling a lot faster.
I agree with what Dawood said something at the beginning when he was talking about this not being a sexy topic.
Right.
And that's the reason why you don't really hear about it that often, because it's not sexy. It's not, sensationalist. And the main reason why is what Jabari said. It's like, when you talk about research and development, there takes a certain mindset to even do that.
Right.
And that mindset is not present in today's Black leadership or in today's Black organizations. It's just not there.
Right.
It's like right now, this topic, this show that we're doing is like Mandarin Chinese to Black organizations.
Oh, without a doubt.
But I'm anxious to hear what your answer is to that question.
For me, I think that, I think that BAIO, we're the one organization that makes it sexy to be to be a smart person. Because I think that that's where it all starts from. It all starts from Black men and women being able or being comfortable using the vast brain power that we have. Mm-hmm. And understanding that there's no consequence, there's no negative consequence to using that. Yeah, you got to have social skills. Yeah, you have to have emotional intelligence. But at the same time, I think that the society that we took on in America punishes you for being smart. It really does. And you think about it. If you're smart and you're making money off your smarts, then the hood punishes you because you get robbed. You know what I'm saying? Most people, when they start making good money because they're smart and they know they don't want to be involved in no drama because they could lose whatever job they have or whatever, they move out the hood. And when they move out the hood, who do they move around? They move around white people. So now you move around white people, and if you're blessed to find a black mate that, you know, is either as smart as you are or accepts you as you are, your offspring.
Uh-oh. Is it me or did we lose him?
Your offspring what? I want to know.
Did we lose?
him? We lost connection with him.
On
His side, probably, because we're all in.
Oh, okay. All right, I thought it was just me.
If you look at the recent criticism that LeBron James' son got for going to the prom with a white girl, look at where he lives. Look at where he grew up. You know what I'm saying? Here's LeBron, a person that I don't know if y'all know, but LeBron is incredibly basketball intelligent. Like incredibly. There are stories that long before the play happens, on the other side, like the other team's play happens, LeBron will call out the play before they do it. Not on his side, on the other side. There's been times where people have been out of position, and LeBron says, "Nah, that's not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be here on the freaking other side." So if you look at LeBron, you say, "Well, he's a physical specimen, and that is the reason why that's not even the case." LeBron is very, very basketball smart. And where did he have to live? He had to live in Beverly Hills. He had to live in places with saying in that environment. And that, what does that make for? It makes for a cutting off of that. Like I've always been saying, we don't have a second and third generation because of the missed opportunities of the people that came before us. So I think that in a nutshell, the BAIO itself makes it. We are making it acceptable and sexy to be smart, and that to me is the beginning of it. But it's such a critical step in this whole thing because, you know, if it's one thing that I remember that I had love for when it came to the conscious community is that, you know, they made it even though it was competition, they made it sexy for you to be able to study. It was a whole bunch of dudes studying, but unfortunately they were studying to defeat one another.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to change that narrative. We're trying to make it a narrative where we're studying to edify one another. And that to me is the power of looking at things from a nationhood point of view than looking at it from a freaking organization or cult point of view. Which is really what we've been trained to do. Because everything that has been strong and disciplined in the black community is a cult. Let's keep it 100. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's a cult. There's no free society where you're able to live and move the way you want to live and move without somebody else's prejudgments or laws, rules, and restrictions. And so therefore, when you come inside that cult, it makes you narrow-minded, but there's also competition, unnecessary competition, and violence inside the cult. So now you come into an organization where we're saying, damn, you do that for a living? That's what's up. Where the hell else do you know that talks like that? You know what I'm saying? Some people pay lip service to it, but then they want to put you to work doing whatever the hell they want you to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, you're great. You're an electrician. Go out here and sell these pies or whatever. And you're like, nigga, I learned how to hook up wires. I didn't learn how to hook up no pies. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think that is what we're doing, and the value of what we're doing is we're making it, and the more people who listen to us that have the same feeling that we have, they say, oh, you mean to tell me there's somebody that looks at research and development as a thing? Because remember also, and I'm going to shut up, you only get a certain amount of hours in the day. If you're living in a society that tells you that you got to work on your social skills just to get a decent mate, well, how many hours do you have for research and development? Because you're busy trying to get your clothing game up, you're trying to get your look up and all this other stuff, just so you can have a decent relationship. Because the society that we live in has not taught us as a people, or not enabled us as a people, to be smart, intelligent, and into what we're doing, and make that something that's attractive to men and women. It hasn't. So we're basically attracted to one another for the superficial things. The divorce rate in America is 80%. And the reality of it, so that means that that's not really working. If somebody really approached somebody else for who you are and what you're into, in contrast to how you look and all this other fake superficial shit, it would solve a lot of problems. But in third world countries, when nobody has no money, I guarantee you the story is very different.
Yeah. I just wanted to say something like in terms of my views on nationhood. Um, when I when I thought about nationhood, and this was like after I had understood what it was after listening to Amos Wilson. Um, and y'all tell me if you think that this is an accurate statement. For me, nationhood gives us the context or the infrastructure to exploit our talent. If anybody can come up with another way to exploit Black talent, the talent that we actually have as a people, let me know what it is. Do you think that's an accurate statement?
Definitely.
Without a doubt.
And
Without
I
a
would
doubt.
love for somebody that pushes back against what we talk about to come up with a system where our talents can be exploited.
For the good.
And
Right. Because it's
oh,
being exploited now, but it's not for
Right.
us.
I love
Yep.
it. Oh, I love what you're talking about because I really wanted to get into this. I really wanted to say when it comes to our organization, um, people talk about they've done all this research and all this stuff, blah 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 blah. Okay, but one of the key things about research and development, like I said earlier, is you got to come up with a prototype. Show us how this looks like. Don't tell us, well, this is what we need to do. Show us the structure. That's when it gets real because then you're responsible for everything that happens. You got to take the responsibility. It's real easy to talk about what the Black community needs to do. Okay, well, give us a structure. How does it look like? Tell us how your organization looks like. Okay, who's doing what? Let's say we have a bunch of Black nurses. Is there a health committee there? There are a bunch of Black electricians there. Do you have Black electrical projects that they're doing? Like, let's say, are they doing electrical projects in the Black community? You have a bunch of construction workers. Are they getting in contact with Black general contractors to get ready for possible construction projects? Let's say you got a bunch of college students. Are you educating them about potential career opportunities that they may have? It's super easy to talk about what the Black community should do, but research and development requires you not only to, first and foremost, solve a problem. What are you trying to solve? That's what I need to know. And it's got to be specific. When you do research, you don't do vagueness on research. When you do research, you are very specific. You are specific on what you want to try to solve, and you break down the topics underneath it. That's what you do when you're talking about research. So, what are you doing? And that's what we're doing. We're building a prototype. We're trying to build structure. We're trying to build organization. We're trying to build professionalism because a lot of these Black organizations ain't professional. There's no sense of we're supposed to be having order. There is a way you're supposed to do things. Okay? You're supposed to have all this in place. And it's not there for hardly any of these Black organizations. A lot of these conscious community people, folks, ask them, okay, where's your office headquartered at? Who is the person that I speak to for this issue? Let's say I want to be interested in the health part of it. Is there a health committee phone number I'm supposed to reach out to? Is there a communications committee chairperson that I reach out to? What's that person's number? Can I get it? You'll hear crickets.
They don't have a plan. They don't have a vision for the future. That's why it gets back to that question that we always ask: what is the end game for Black people in America? If you want to get thrown out of anything, ask that question in a Black talking head forum. Ask that question, and you will be escorted out because this happened.
Mm-hmm. What they don't again because you're asking a research-like question. What are you trying to solve?
Right.
Well, I think another thing too that people have become complacent about is as new immigrants come to the country, they're able to start organizations, and a lot of times they get, um, I guess, the coverage of having their distinct language. So they build it around language, and in that way, they have secrecy. And because of what's happened to us and our lack of a distinct language outside of English, we're doing everything, and we're sometimes way too transparent. We don't need to be. And that's the beauty of having an organization where you can keep things quiet as you build. Because that's how people build. They build in silence, they build in private. They don't have, have to broadcast or go through checks and balances. They just build, and nobody knows they're building. And that's what our people need to know and understand, that we need that type of protection in order to build something. The Jews definitely have it, and they've used it very well and are still using it to the point where now they've become, they're not oppressed.
Mhm. I think you can't compare, I think, other immigrant groups to us, because I think the difference is immigrants is they already have a structure. So you're going in, you already have a structure, you already have everything. So you can organize in America if you come from India because you already got a structure. Like you're just going to a new place just to have a new life or maybe opportunities, but you already have a structure. You have a basis, you have a prototype to which to build on. If you ain't got no prototype, I mean, of course you're gonna be scattered individuals because I mean, there ain't no structure. I mean, you come in here and you come from an intact structure, intact community. You know yourself. You know all of this stuff, and I'm in a situation where I have to do all this research to get to the point to where I'm at. I mean, this took me 5 years. I mean, this was not like no a quick Google search. This was 5 years of endless spending hours a day researching. And I would also say this. I would also say, to answer RP's point, it's great that we read our black scholars, but here's the thing. We have to apply our ideology today. We can't build it based on what they writ in the 1980s. I'm sorry. That was in 1980. It's 2022. That's 42 years ago. Okay. Some of them already, if you were born in 1980, chances are you already got kids and they 12. Some of them may be grown right now. Like, we have to apply to today's context. Our code, like you said, has to be centered around nationhood, and it has to be centered on today's context. We cannot base it off of 1980s work, because
White
many of us,
supremacy.
yeah,
We
and
can't.
many
The
of our
white man.
scholars,
I'm sorry. The white man is not at the center of our universe. We're not creating a code revolving around him like he's the same sun. We putting ourselves in our own interests first. We need to stop. The white man is so irrelevant at this point to what we have to do. There's nothing stopping us from doing what we have to do. Nothing. Except the white man in our mind. We could just stop about racism and white supremacy and all that. I'm so bored with that. That is so
and also,
1980s.
right, and also, like I said, the reason why I said can't be applicable, because some of the theories I've read, some of the theories, it makes no sense, some of it. So that's why I don't look at these scholars as gods. I don't.
Can I
I,
can I just say this? Because I want us to be clear. Nobody's shitting on Fuller. I'm not
right.
shitting on any scholar, but this is 2022.
Thank
Even
you.
Amos Wilson has certain things that I didn't agree with in terms of tactics in the blueprint for Black Power, because he
They're
was looking at
not
it within the
gods.
con. Yeah, he was looking at it within a certain context at the time that he was in. You got to take these principles and move forward.
They're not gods. I keep saying we look at our ancestors like they're gods, like they're infallible. We don't even know these people. We've never, most of these scholars, we never talked to them in their personal lives. We don't know none of that. We're going basically strictly off the work that they've done. Again, nobody's taking away from what they did, but they're not gods. And like I said, it was written in the 1980s. a
And
different time
also,
period.
it's not about, see, this is the thing. When you're in school and you're approaching things as a student, you can have multiple teachers.
Exactly.
But when you're a follower, you only got one leader. I position myself as a student always. I
Exactly.
can learn from many teachers, and I don't put them up on pedestals, and I don't act like they're gods. I take the information that I feel is applicable, and I apply it,
Mm-hmm.
and discard the stuff that I don't agree with or I don't feel is applicable to me. And we got to think like students instead of worshiping people. I don't worship anybody. I respect people. There's people that I definitely respect in terms of my development, but I don't worship anybody. I love Malcolm, but I don't worship him. I love
Thank
Amos
you.
Wilson, but I don't worship him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at some of the things in Blueprint for Black Power, remember the time that book was written. There was a lot of things that he predicted going forward, like the whole Chinese thing or whatever. He was very on point, which is really, if you think about it, we can be the same way if you use the same methodology. You can depict right now, you can predict what's going to happen 20 years from now.
If you do all the research development and
Exactly.
you understand the context of which you live in, like
Look
I
at
said,
trends. Where's the trends going? What are we trending toward technologically? What are we trending toward in terms of economy and money and currency? Where are these things going? So it's not about being stagnant and worshiping people's words that was written in a book years ago, like people do the Bible.
mhm.
It's about learning new things and applying that information and moving forward.
And you're supposed to learn from them. You're supposed to correct what they did wrong.
Exactly. Because think about it. If everybody before us had it right, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. If they had it completely right, the ultimate solution, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So you got to learn from everybody. And that's why we're here. That's why we have breath in our lungs right now, so that we can bring this information and take it forward and make it practical and go forward and have a future, map out a future. It might not even be us who ultimately do it. It could be our children. And they got to bring the ball. It's like a baton. You got to keep passing that shit forward. So I don't agree with the whole, this person wrote this or whatever, and we need to abide by that. No. Look at what's applicable and what we can take, disregard the rest, and move forward with your own vision.
And that goes again. This applies to the research and development. It all goes back to research and development. When you do research, one of the very first things that they teach you: don't get your information from one source. You're supposed to get your information from at least 10 to 20 different sources. Why? You need to get all the different biases, analyses, information before you make a decision. You
10 to
listening to
20?
one person. Listen, when I do essays, when I was doing essays, even for like a 2-page assignment, I would have 6 to 8 sources minimum. Like the current things that I do about Liberia, I have hundreds of sources, thousands of them. If you've read any information book and they give you like the footnotes and all that, they are in the hundreds of them, because that's how you make an informed, adequate decision and conclusion. Listening to one person, that's one source, and that person can be heavily biased.
And you know what? I got to say this. White supremacy is overrated.
It really is.
Ask Aliko Dangote how he feels about white supremacy today. Ask the Chinese how they feel about white supremacy today.
They ain't scared. They ain't scared.
Another thing is how we talk about today's mathematics, yet we quote in a book from the 1960s.
Exactly.
I thought it was today's mathematics. Today is 2022. You think do you think the population was the same today that it was back in when you quote all these figures and stuff?
In school, you don't use books that are older than 5 to 10 years. most of the time, because everything is updated. There's new discoveries, there's new research that comes out, new
Right.
patents. The only time, I'll tell you this, the only time that you use books from the 1960s is if you're trying to write a book from an historical perspective into how we got to the modern day. Okay? If you want to do research about how nationhood has evolved and the history of Black people in nationhood, that's when you quote books from the 1960s. You don't quote books from the 1960s, the 1860s in today's world. I use it for inspiration, but I care about that technological singularity. I care about that post-human era. I care about the manned mission to Mars. That's what I care about.
White people are in the same category to me as a black mamba snake or a scorpion. It just seems redundant to keep talking about what they do.
And also,
The question is, what are we going to do? Let's acknowledge this white supremacy. Let's acknowledge it as, the big threat that it is. What are we going to do about it?
again, you got to solve a problem. You have to solve a problem. What problem are you going to solve? And we ain't solving no problems. Let me also add that, okay, let's say that situation with America, right? Guess what? We could choose right now as Black people collectively to hop on out of here. If we all decide, we're going to hop up out of here tomorrow, we could do that. Okay? We all could do that. Okay? And the reality of the situation is okay. He says, Dan Jose still dresses up like a white man and structures his business and the standard of European format is a little bit deeper than just the term white supremacy. Okay, let me ask you this question. Here's a question. So if you see white people in dashikis, does that mean that we're now under a system of African supremacy because white people wear dashikis? Because there are plenty of white people that literally model their whole companies after Black people and model themselves after African culture. There are white people who worship voodoo. Does that mean that they live under the system of African supremacy?
Let me ask another question. Where's the model of Africans of this African system that's running with the globe right now? Since the model that he used to gain the riches that he did is invalid, please show me the alternate model. Does that exist? Can we point to it and use it as a reference?
The point of it is system builder. The reason why I brought that up is because the reason why I would structure that way is because that's how the global economy is structured. Look at, for example, today. We know the dollar and the euro are some of the largest currency reserves. But guess what? Another thing that countries have? The Chinese yuan. Just because the U.S. has a few reserves in the Chinese yuan, that doesn't mean they live under a system of Chinese supremacy. That's the world that we live in. We live in a world where that's how you have to structure businesses, period. If right now, if we as African people found out that you had to structure the environment this way, people would follow suit. That's just how the world works. Okay? If I structure my economy like, let's say a business in Asia and the business in Europe, that's just the standard of business. That's the international standard. Okay? It's an international standard. There's a reason for that. Now, are we saying that Europeans don't have a significant influence? Of course they have significant influence. But what we're saying is, okay, we know that this is what we're up against. What are we going to do about it? And that's what he's saying. It's saying, if we know in America that we're not, I asked this question on Twitter, and how you can quote the tweet. I asked this question on Twitter. If we as Black people know that America doesn't care about us and that it's never going to change, why are we here? What are we doing? We're wasting valuable time. If that is your honest belief system, that, hey, listen, America doesn't care about Black folks, they ain't never going to change, why are we here?
It's even deeper than that. If America has the infinity gauntlet, then why are you fighting them? If you really believe that they're that powerful, what type of defense are you mounting against the infinity gauntlet? Well, you've made these people God-like. What is the solution to fighting God? I just don't. Black
No,
Mambas. I look
and
at it this way. This is the best way to explain it. We live in a world where there are grizzly bears, there are tigers, there's lions, there's scorpions, there's all types of poisonous and venomous snakes. There's all types of things in this world that can kill us. And do you still get up and go to work, or you don't go to work because you might feel you get bitten by a scorpion when you go outside? I'm not, and by me saying that doesn't mean that I'm saying, oh, these things are not threats. They are threats.
yeah, I'm about to
They are
say
threats.
nobody's saying, like you said, nobody's saying that racism, white supremacy doesn't exist. We're not saying that. We're not
Right.
saying that Western imperialism doesn't exist. What we're saying is that's not the center of our universe. That's not what's driving our responses. Our response should be to address our issues and interests. Because let's be real, if African countries address their own interests and needs first and put their interests and needs first and make sure that was the case and they punished those Western countries, we wouldn't be in the position that we are in right now. Okay. Like I said, part of it is racism and white supremacy. I've been out here calling it out over and over again. But at the same time, I understand, listen, we live in a world, and this is gonna go into war or a thing, but it's a war
Oh,
analogy,
this
right?
is so true what he just said, but I don't think he realizes how true it is.
Oh yeah, that is so true.
It's so true. What you just said there is 100% true. But I don't think you're thinking of it the way that we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because that white man is Thanos is a part of the things we got to get over. The white man is everywhere is the thing we got to get over. Making white supremacy godlike and giving it deity properties. That's the mindset we got to get over. Because you can't fight God. If you put somebody as a God in your mind, you won't defeat God.
Mm-hmm. It's like I told like I said over and over again. We know that, okay, let's say we live in a racist white supremacist society in America. Okay, we know that. Okay, we know we have to work twice as hard. But here's the thing: if I know my value as an engineer, if I know my value and my worth, and I see that America's not treating me right, I'm going to leave because I deserve better. And since I deserve better, I'm going to go somewhere I'm going to be treated better. It's not a utopia. Nothing's a utopia. And we have to get out of that mindset as well, because that's what stops us from doing action as well. We got this idea that things are utopia. Nothing in this world is a utopia. Nothing.
Nope.
Okay. But I want to go to an environment that's conducive for me to at least succeed. Okay. And if I know that I'm being mistreated, I'm walking out that door because I'm better than that. I deserve better and I should be treated better. And we should expect that. And if they're not going to give it to us, we'll go somewhere else to get it. It's just like your job. Your job. Oh, you are okay. My bad. Thank you for correcting us. Thank you for correcting us. It's a she. We want to make sure it's a she. Just want to make sure it's correct.
I love this comment because the key word here is collective. Considering everything that's been said so far and what we can learn from the previous generations, we have to do this as a collective.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I want to apply what I was saying just a minute ago to great point, great job, NDR. She be making good points. Look, Holla, this question: if you know that a company is not making you happy, it's a toxic environment, do you stay and try to better the company, or do you say, "Nah, I'm leaving the company. I'll go somewhere else."
Peace. Deuces.
And you don't think twice.
Right.
Why? You deserve better. Because guess what? I know there's somebody out there that does want me. And that's what we have to think about. Okay? Okay.
Yep.
Then we're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the same page.
Oh, underrated.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Underrated there?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Underrated.
Yo,
Are you there? Do you see what's on the screen?
the question,
Yeah.
I agree. I'm not centering on
White people.
white oh
Okay,
white
okay,
people.
I can respond that. I can respond
Wait,
to
no,
that.
no, no. Let underrated. I don't want. There's a reason why I'm doing this.
Hold on, let me reread it again. I agree. I'm not
Oh,
centering on white
I know what
people.
you're
I'm
gonna get at.
concerned about our mindset. I teach, and these children are going to need a hard reset. What is the BAIO plan for that?
What's your answer to that question?
I mean, getting the fuck out of here and having a nation state in Liberia.
Particularly that last question.
Land of
Underrated.
construction nationhood.
Underrated.
What?
Go. Yep. Go. Hollop. I put it in. Hollop knows
I'm
what I'm
throwing you
talking.
an alley oop. Underrated.
Underrated. Come on, underrated. I put it in a thing. If you look through the just up the banners and thing, you'll see what I just put.
The heel turn.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But what is that right there? What's going on right there that you would say needs to be addressed?
Oh, the we.
Care to elaborate on it?
Because pretty much when either members of the BAIO or externally or they're learning about it, it's always about what is the BAIO doing instead of what are we doing or what is that person doing. That's where we're stuck on.
That's the hard reset.
Yeah.
We got to stop looking at this as something that's outside of us. You, RP, you are a part of the BAIO just as much as I am. You don't have to take marching orders from anybody. So what are we going to do about moving things forward? And we can only do that as a collective. We can't do it as a bunch of scattered individuals. And that's the whole point. If we're still referring to it as the BAIO, that's the problem. Because you're looking at it as something outside of you. You're making a separation between you and it and asking, well, what does this thing over here do? No, you're a part of it. So then what are you doing to make this hard reset happen? That's the mindset that we have to get. That's why I said your statement before is more true than you can even imagine.
And there's all kinds of risk if you involve third parties. Nobody's going to know our wants, needs, and desires more than ourselves.
Right.
We're chasing things like our birthright. Like no third party can show up and represent that the way we can.
And that was a tweet, because we talk about we're focused on Liberia, of course. So one of the tweets that I put out was, I said, we as African Americans have got to speak up about Liberia. And actually, I'm actually gonna put the tweet on because it's more representative of what you're talking about, Hala, what you're talking about in the series with the birthright. And it also goes to our RP's point of view, what she was trying to say. Okay, so where is it? Let me hit my profile. Okay, so here's the tweet that I put out yesterday. I said the following. Okay. Yeah, I got it right here. So this is going to go to your point, RP, and it's going to go to everybody else's point. So I put this tweet on Twitter a couple there you go. Come on, where that? Okay, where the Chrome tab at? There it is. I said right here. I said we as African Americans. Need to speak up. I'm going to put it all like this so everybody can see it. I said, we as African Americans need to speak up about Liberia. We can't allow other people to talk about our history. They use Liberia to say to African Americans, Liberia is our history, and we need to tell the story, and we need to tell it from our perspective. Okay? And then my next tweet that I put after that is the other tweet that I put is I said the following. I said that I see over and over again from YouTube to Google outsiders writing about Liberian history. African Americans and Liberians are rarely telling this Liberian story. That's what motivates me to do what I do. We're going to be the ones telling it. That's what I do. So if you want to know, RP, an example of what we're doing, that's an example of what I'm doing. I'm educating the populace of African Americans on Liberia. I'm challenging the Liberian narrative. I do TikTok videos. I do Instagram. I do interviews. I write article. I read a Medium article. Make sure you go put that out there. I did a Medium article and got it submitted to the Liberian Observer. One of the ways that we can start changing that mindset is to, first of all, claim our story and let us tell it. We have to take matters into our own hand, and we have to be the ones to tell it. Only you can tell your story. Nobody else can tell your story unless you give it to them. Okay? And one of the ways that we can empower ourselves and really teach is to tell our story from our perspective. Because I'll give you an example. Because of I was reading a book, and it was about Amy Asher Garvey. It was not about Amy Asher, but Amy Asher Garvey was one of the major figures in the book. And in the book, she was talking about Amy Asher Garvey was not racial conscious at all until her grandmother started telling her story, the story of where they came from, and she found out she was the daughter, a descendant of the, not a daughter, but a descendant of an Ashanti general, one of the great powers of Ghana. And that's when she said, that's when I had pride in myself. That's when it motivated me to do the consciousness. It motivated me to be a political actor and advocate in the Black community. And that is something that we can use as an example. And that's why I was talking about telling our story. We have to get comfortable with telling our story. Us being, no, this is our story. This is ours. We get to tell it. You don't get to tell it. Just like we don't get to tell Chinese history or Mongolian history or Tajik history, Kazakh history. We need to tell our history. Okay? Other people should not be telling our history. When I hear about the Mali Kingdom, Liberia, Sierra Leone, I need to hear that coming from an African American, a Malian, an Ivorian, a Guinean. That's how we can undo it.
Do you agree with what's on the screen?
Won't have to hire civil engineers because we have them in the BAIO.
Yeah, someone had asked, who are we going to hire? What organizations or whatever civil engineers are we going to hire?
We have them. We just don't. We have to have more. I mean, that's
right.
The point. We got to recruit more members. I'll give it. You
Right.
said what civil engineers? You're speaking to one right now. I am a civil engineer, actually. Minor in physics, yeah. But I can't do it by myself. I can't build a building by myself. That's impossible. I can design the building. I can be a general contractor, but I need masonry. I need plumbers. I need concrete. I need all that there. I'm not the one who's building it. I designed it. It's the ordinary people that put it together. I oversee it, which explains why I think the way that I think. I oversee it, but I'm not the one doing it. I'm not the one building, laying down the bricks, painting the walls. That's not what I do. I design it. I overlook it.
I am asking because a feasibility study, especially of that magnitude, would require considerable time and resources. The researchers' rent, food, and expenses would need coverage during that time. And who's going to be paying for this?
Mm-hmm. He says I'm a staunch Garveyite anyway, so it's not rocket science. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. We're not denying what you're saying. I mean, I'm a Garveyite too. I listen to I read plenty of Garvey, and a lot of what he says speaks to me. And one of the things is people say they're Garveyites, but they always exclude Liberia. Like I noticed that with Garveyites, not you, but many Garveyites. They'll say they're Garveyites, but when it's time to go to Liberia, ain't nobody doing it.
And I'm just asking a serious question. Who is supposed to be paying for this stuff?
And we can do a feasibility study. It's just that's not our primary priority. That'd be something we do on the background. That'd be something we do in the researching committee.
You know
That's
what
not
I'm going to guess?
right now.
What I'm going to guess is the same person that's paying my rent, my food, and taking care of my expenses.
The government.
Like we are on this live stream right now, and ain't nobody paid us to be on it. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, there's a lot of effort needed before it gets to that point of feasibility studies. What we're needing is the collective to be formed and people to garner the interest. And, we're growing the interest because, as Jabari pointed out, there's a whole narrative that everybody else is trying to speak. So that's why I was pointing out language. We have had a history where people have been speaking on our behalf for centuries. So until we show up and tell our story ourselves and also defend it, then they're going to say, oh, these people are serious. But that's what needs to happen.
Peace, RB. Thank you for your input. We really love you. Great questions. Questions that were needed to ask. And well, like I said, we are very constructive. We're not the kind of people who, if you ask us questions, we're just going to be like, oh, why you ask questions? Bring the questions. Bring as many of them as you can. We like it. I love answering people's questions. I don't shy away from it. So thank you, RP.
Personally, I think that the most important resource that we can use right now is time and energy from people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people really feel that something needs to be done, then do it. Come into the circle, be amongst the people who's trying to do something, and bring your talent and your energy and your way of looking at things into the mix. Like me and Jasiri was talking about this. I think it was this morning where we said we were just like late night. Umoja just had a brilliant idea out of nowhere and just put it in the chat room. I'm like, oh wow, why not think of that?
And also, sisters, but I would like to add, I would love to do a lot of research projects. The thing is, like we've all said, we need people. We need people. I would love to do so many research things on Mars, on psychology, sociology, all that. But I need people. We need people, not only people, we need people with skills, with the resources. We need that. I mean, the six of us can't do it. Most of these studies require thousands of participants in order for it to happen. I mean, we can't just go think like this takes thousands of participants. Not only that, when you read some of these studies, it's over a 10 to 20 year period that they're doing this. So this is not something that's just a quick thing. This is stuff that we have to plan and have the resources. That's really what it is. Once we get more members, and especially in Atlanta, because Atlanta is going to be the prototype, once we structure everything, we build everything, when we have like the organizational structures and all that, then we can start doing things on the fly. We can do a feasibility study. We can do a research and development on products, on manufacturing, on supply chains. We can.
And what's the key word in that? The key word in everything you just said is we. We can do it. And I'm trying to get people to get into this mindset that instead of asking, what are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing personally to push the narrative forward? Every person has to ask themselves that. Because if you keep asking what somebody else is doing, that means you expect somebody else to do it.
And also for big projects, there's only a we. There can't be a me in any of those big projects. Hey,
Oh, I'm
that
sorry. I think Asiri is trying to say something.
oh, where are you?
I just wanted to point out the question that was asked earlier about education and for children to change their mindset. That's a perfect example of a quick win because we have enough educators and Black people in the education field and teachers. Like, we need people in that arena who can help us extract and formulate things that we can put in front of our children to change their mindset, because the mindset that they're exposed to, we know what happens to them. They're going to end up in that manufacturing machine and they're going to end up someplace unrecognizable. And if we want to interrupt that pattern, we can. We have the resources. But again, it boils down to we. We need people to come together collectively to formulate that.
Right. And also and we always say we because guess what? Even me, I can do as much as I can. But if there ain't other people doing it, it's futile. They always say this point. A better team will always beat the best individual. If you put the best individual up against a better team, I don't care how great that person is, they will always lose.
Ask Michael
The
Jordan.
best per
Michael Jordan didn't win championships until he got a team. Before then, he was scoring 75 and 60 points a game and losing. But when he got a team, he didn't have to score 60, 70 points.
Look at Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 a season. He was the best player in the league in the centuries. You would think with the way Wilt Chamberlain was scoring, he would have 8 championships. Wilt Chamberlain only won 2 championships compared to Bill Russell. Why? Bill Russell had a better team. And Wilt Chamberlain even admitted himself. He said, I've always been better than Bill Russell, but I've never had the right teammates. Again, the better team will always beat the best person. We can do, I can do as much as I can. Hollop can do as much as she can. Siri, we can do our individual parts. But if we ain't got other people involved and we got other people going into the paint, that we're gonna be where we are right now. Nowhere.
Well, sure, you have something to say? I want to give you a chance to
Well, NDR,
spit your
I was
check.
just seeing NDR's comment. I want to make an educational curriculum based off land, infrastructure, and nationhood, focusing on self-sufficiency. That's excellent. That's the type of planning that we're interested in. So let's connect. Come on in.
And systems builder said the exact same thing. He who organized wins. Yep, it's all who's the best organized. Those who are organized, who are on a mission, they're ready, they're flowing, they got chemistry, they're the ones who win. Those who are discombobulated, dysfunctional, they lose. It's why we always say organize. Organize, organize, organize. You have to organize it into a structure.
I hope to hear from you soon, NDR.
Yeah, I'm about to say, we hope to see you too, System Builder, because we would definitely want you to be a part of it. And if you're a Garvey, our mission matches perfectly with it because Garvey wanted to go to Liberia. He built his Black Star line in Liberia, and he sent delegates to Liberia. His wife, one of his first wife, Amy Asher Garvey, went to Liberia. So ours is aligned with it. Amy Jacques Garvey, his second wife, advocated for the Great Liberia Act. Oh, so he is. So really appreciate it. Right. They're just there on the court. They're not contributing, and that's a problem. There's no one-man army, and there never will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to get people used to that mentality of bringing their talents and their viewpoints and their resources into the mix.
Oh, and also, oh my bad, sir. And also, I want to add this quick point. As a leader, even us as leaders, but as a leader, if you claim to be like, oh, I'm a conscious community leader, I'm a leader, I'm all this stuff, right? It is your job to get people involved, meaning it's your job to give people activities. You keep telling the Black community what we need to do. Okay, Give us activities to be involved. Are you establishing a health committee? Are you establishing, a food drive to help people in the Black community in need? Are you creating a marketing team? Because you notice all these Black folks who are quote unquote part of the conscious community, which I hate that word. I despise the conscious community in the pro Black community.
Welcome
Um,
to the club.
Notice that whenever they do something, they're the face of it. They're a single individual. You don't see they have a team. They never tell you this is my assistant, this is my secretary, this is my treasurer. They just give themselves. Just a side note.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to add one other thing too, another thought. Um, I'm working for a child protection agency, and I see what happens to our children because they're overrepresented. And my idea is I want to have an intervention strategy for Black families and children before it gets to that crisis point, so that they're not going to be dependent on the system, because the system is not addressing their needs and can't address their needs, really.
So true. And check it out. NDR is at a wedding and hollering with us. Isn't that nice?
Wow, that's committed. Love that.
It's always time. But yeah, I hope people after they listen to this will realize that there's a reason why you don't hear Black organizations talking about R&D. Because they have no vision, they have no plan, they're not trying to make anything better. And like Jabari said, they're not trying to come up with a solution to solve a problem. Because as far as they're concerned, there is no problem. We're just going to keep pointing out everything. Like every time I see a cobra bite somebody, I'm going to say, hey, that cobra just bit somebody. We got to do something about these cobras biting people. Man, that scorpion killed somebody else by stinging them. What are we going to do?
Oh, first of all, there's got to be a week.
Like, Captain Obvious should be showing up whenever those arguments come up.
Yeah.
$619 getting married. All right. Congratulations.
You going to send her an invite to the group?
She's in the group.
Treat her like a lady. No, too soon. All right.
Congratulations, sis. Yes, that's work right there. Another goal completed.
Great.
June 19th.
Perfect timing.
Hollop, you gonna be there?
Where's it gonna be? Where you at, NDR?
I guess NDR.
I bet you she's an ATL or something. If she's an ATL, then I gotta ask her, you gonna be there? When are you actually getting to ATL?
Me? I was supposed to be there. Oh, it's in Ohio.
Yeah, I won't be making that one.
I was supposed to be there in May, but I don't get there till July.
Oh, well, that's only a month away.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's not bad. Ohio, home of the Ohio players.
Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus.
Small backyard wedding. That's the way to do it.
You're doing it the right way, not doing these $50,000 weddings for one day.
Yeah, save that money for your house.
I never understood that. I never understood why folks spend $50,000 to $100,000 on a wedding. I'm like, you're doing that just for one day.
Because of Disney. That fairy tale princess nonsense.
Conditioning.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather spend that $50,000 on down payment for a house.
Exactly.
And then you can be a princess in your own house.
Yeah. Who posted that thing in the chat about that development where they're selling for 30, 35 and up?
In
Homes.
what state?
No, that was homes in was it Rwanda or
Oh, in
Liberia?
Rwanda. Yeah, I think it was in Rwanda.
Yeah. So that's why you
Man,
got to
you
get in the
have
group.
houses. You have she got land in South Africa and Tanzania. Okay, NDR. Me and you need to probably connect because I've been in South Africa before, so you know.
All right, South
Yeah.
Africa and Tanzania. Nice.
Mm-hmm. You can get stuff in Liberia for like 5,000. They were talking about that for building like houses for 5,000. I'm telling you, if you could build a house in Liberia for $5,000, imagine how many houses we could build for 5 million or 5
Okay.
billion.
Of course. Of course.
Wait, say that again. You said we can build a house in Liberia for how many?
You can build a house for just $5,000. So imagine if you build that for 5,000, for like 5,000 for one house, you can build about 100,000 for 500,000. You could build 1,000 for 5 million. Like that's what I said. Imagine how many houses, because we're not gonna have these extremely exotic houses for nations. They're gonna be very simple houses. They're not gonna be like these super complex.
Right.
But
Okay.
that's what we need.
Okay.
But that's what we need.
So if y'all want to start a BAIO neighborhood, I'm down. I'm down. I can have one of the houses.
I love it. Yeah.
Call it the
5,000. I
Lounge
can
Boulevard.
rock with that.
Call it the Lounge Boulevard.
Do y'all see Ronan is getting married too in September 2nd?
Yeah,
I didn't know if y'all knew that.
I
Wow.
didn't.
Ronan?
Yeah, Ronan.
Congratulations.
I want my money too, but congrats, man. What's
Dang, he gonna cheat shot him out.
Let me stop. I'm telling random people I want my money. Nah, I ain't messing with Ronan. Nah, I'm good. Congrats.
Can you hear me?
Ah, there he
Oh
is.
shit.
He said, let
I'm
me get
sorry,
online
man.
and
I'm
tell this
sorry.
nigga
I'm
something.
sorry.
I don't owe you any money, Negro.
Ah.
I don't know what you talking about, brother.
I'm sorry. I played too much. I'm good.
I know. I'm just coming on, just busting your chops, yo. That's all. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations to NDR as well. So
Yeah, man. Love is in the air.
Oh, I'm so touched.
what's
Love.
up, Siri, Jabari, Hollow?
Peace, brother.
Yeah, I just been laying in the bullpen, just listening. It was really, really good discussion. I think it should be had more often what we were talking about in the earlier half of the show. So, and also working too
Ronan,
at the same time. So,
just to change the subject for a brief second, what are your sites for your blogs when you do your writing? What do you put them on?
Substack.
Just Substack?
Yeah, I stopped messing
Okay.
with the other one. I can't remember it.
Is it
The
Medium?
other location. No, Tumblr.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about getting a Substack. I was thinking
If
about
you
getting a
can't,
Substack.
could you send a Siri your link because she was asking about it?
Okay. I'm working on a piece like right now, so I'll post it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
like
thinking
doing
about
like
doing
three
a
things.
Substack.
I'm doing like three things at the same time. I'm like working on some traffic data and writing. Trying to write something. You know, it's been hectic. So.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of like $5,000. I'd be down to have a BAIO neighborhood. I put my $5,000 in.
Oh yeah. And we can get it done in about a year. Like you can legit build like that stuff in under a year.
Let's do it. How many
I want-
people got $5,000 they want to put up for a house?
Like
Let's do it.
we can have. I mean, we can
I just
have
got my
it.
passport. Went for my passport on Friday. So.
All right.
Because I'm ready.
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. What is it? LD was talking about Harper. Do you know? You familiar with that?
Yes.
What do you know about that area?
So Harper is the capital of Maryland County. It used to be. It was where the African Americans from Maryland settled. So Harper's right by Ivory Coast, so it's really close to Abidjan. So the major it would actually be closer to go to Abidjan than it would be to go to Monrovia. But yeah, it's good.
Is that the place you would think about? Like, if we were to have a BAIO neighborhood, would it be in Harper?
Okay, so if we were trying to start a neighborhood, no, I would say because the only reason why is because it's not that densely populated. So like we only have 32,000 people in that area, and unless we are planning to bring like 50,000 or 100,000 people, that wouldn't be my ideal choice. Mine would be just on the outside of Monrovia, simply because we would have access to the commercial and business hub of the area. But if we were trying to start up a city, I wouldn't mind doing Harper or thing. If we were trying to build a city, but if we're doing a neighborhood, then I would say on the outskirts of Monrovia.
Ah, okay, cool.
But we're gonna have plenty of these towns when we I think that's what will really kick off the BAO. If people see us actually like having a whole neighborhood and we
Oh,
all
hell yeah. Hell
that's what
yeah.
will
And
really
especially
kick
for that price. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, because most people, if they're buying houses in the States, at the minimum, they paying like, 200, 300,000 at the minimum.
That
So
is
if you're
correct.
doing, you paying, like, I would imagine, like, even if you want to pay more than 5,000, people would be willing to do that. So, yo, that's doable, man. I'm down. If we make a
Yeah,
collective
right.
decision that that's what we want to do, add me to the list.
Me
Yeah,
too.
because right here. So some of these houses are real, like you said, real cheap, like real cheap on the thing. So one of them did a video. Let me show you actually. Um before we end today. Um and he built it from the ground up. He built it from the ground up actually. And here's literally what he did. See, $5,000 in home part three. Unbelievable building comfortable concrete homes in Liberia below 5,000. He said, um, below 5,000. So you can build plenty of houses. So yeah, we can get it done and for cheap prices.
Cool. That is what's up. Well, it's almost 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Liberia to the World, one of the dudes who's thing, you can get it for 25,000 in a educated community, 25,000. So
Still way, 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 way cheaper than you would be spending here. That's like something you could just buy outright if you got savings.
oh
Just
yeah.
buy it outright.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and like thing said that would solve the membership issue guaranteed. Oh yeah, folks will be running over there.
I'm definitely want to look into that 3D printed housing too.
Oh yeah.
Definitely look into that.
Monrovia, Brewerville, Harper, all of them are going to. Yep, Brewerville. Yep, Bo Baby did the same thing. There's a historic suburb called Brewerville. It was the initial home of the Liberian branch of then UNIA. There's also a friend of ours selling land there. Yep, Brewerville. Yeah, Caldwell. You got Marshall. I think if we were gonna go like to Harper and Maryland and Grand Cru, like further down south near Ivory Coast, where it's less densely populated, we gonna really need to bring numbers. Like it's gonna have to be like I would say if we're gonna go down south in Grand Cru in that area, I said we would have to bring at minimum 15 to 20,000 at minimum of people.
Well, you never know.
Because I need access to them healthcare facilities, and most of the healthcare facilities are in Monrovia. So and I can't take 8 hours because the roads there are bad. So what would take us like normally like a 2 to 3 hour drive will take you an 8 to 10 hour drive. So yeah.
The traffic is so bad that even if we're on the outskirts of Monrovia, it'll still take us 2 hours to get there.
For real. Me and Ronan gonna have to work with that.
That is crazy.
Me and Ronan gonna have to work
Please,
with that.
Ronan, please, we need your help, man.
I'm doing
Need your help.
transportation. I'm a transportation engineer right now, so that's what I'll be doing. So yeah, me and Ronan gonna have to work with this traffic control.
Yeah, that needs to be handled.
Yeah,
Like,
man. We definitely need your help with that.
that's something that people they take for granted over here. They don't really think about that. You know, my job is it's a weird conundrum. It's not difficult, but it's dangerous because you're dealing with oncoming traffic and stuff like that. But you get to see firsthand, you know, the volume of the highways, the volumes on streets. You know what you need to do if you're going to do a major construction on a major street. Say you did like Park Avenue in New York, and they decide to cut off, you know, like a 10-block section. You're gonna have traffic counters set up. You want to know what kind of traffic comes through there, so you can divert that traffic to have a detour route. Like people don't think about that stuff,
Hmm.
you know, until they see me roll up in their neighborhood and they're like, "Oh, you're putting a light in?" I'm like, "No, you know, putting a light in." They're doing construction on this main street running through your town. They want to know how many cars are coming through here because they're going to make your street part of the detour route, which they're not happy about that. But those are just some of the little things. How much traffic goes over, like they did with the Pulaski Skyway back in 2011.
Hmm.
Um, they shut that down. We had to go out there, put out counters. They wanted to know how many cars are going over the Pulaski Skyway over a 7-day period. And then they use a detour route to go off the Pulaski Skyway, going off to the truck route from 1 and 9, going through the outskirts of Newark into Jersey City and working their way around that while it was closed for like 3-4 years. So these are things that, you know, that need to be discussed. Where you don't hear other black folks even talking about this stuff on YouTube or whatever. They're into a whole bunch of culture nonsense and silly crap. These are important things,
Hmm.
you know.
And these are the
Yeah.
conversations we need to have. This was a good conversation. We approached the 2 hour mark. Any last remarks before uh we hop off the lounge? Anything? Y'all got the floor.
I do not owe underrated money.
Well, it may not be you, but it's definitely Umoja. Umoja, cash at me. Boston had won game one. And yeah, see y'all guys at the lounge.
He put Umoja on the spot.
Siri,
I'm playing Umoja.
I ain't in
any
this.
last words?
Oh, last word. Yeah. Be about the collective, man. Can't be. This is not the time to walk alone. Be about the collective.
Right. And my last word is bring these suggestions and these issues and questions and solutions into the BAIO. Become a part of it. Be a member. Be involved. Be active. Sign them to the website. Share the content. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that. Be involved. And that's the answer. That's the solution to the problem.
My final words, and I will leave it to an African proverb. It says, "If you want to if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, travel together."
Bingo. Peace, y'all.
Peace,
Peace.
everybody.